But for Sayana Bhashya we would not have been able to understand anything of the Vedic literature, especially the Rig Veda. So Sayana is putting it in modern classical Sanskrit. Yes, it is true that I am the ground of sin. It is true that you are making me weep. All that is all right. But there are rishis and there are vasus, the Ashtavasus, supervising over the various powers of nature, minor deities. Then there is Varuna, there is Aghamarshana Rishi, who has discovered these mantras for our purification. All of them are telling you, are praying to you, protect him, save him, protect him, save him, purify him. So they have got so much of anugraha upon me, so please listen to them. So the sadhaka is telling Varuna, because the dhiras, the wise people, have shown their mercy and blessings, showered their mercy and blessings upon me, I have been blessed by them, I have already become pure. So I am telling you, O Yamadeva, you also, please don't bother me, don't trouble me. Since all these great people have already blessed me, and they are also protecting me, they are also praying to the higher powers to purify us and protect us. Therefore, I am requesting you to fall in line with them. And you also do not bother me about, make me suffer, but protect me. Sometimes you find the Vedic rishis praying almost like little children, so innocent and so pure, and overcome with so much of faith and devotion. Rujutva, straightforwardness, is one of the most important, most essential qualities in a spiritual sadhaka. Sri Ramakrishna used to say, Sarala Swabhava, Rujutva is very necessary. One should become like a child in front of the Lord. Akram Sumudraha Prathami Vidharma Janayan Praja Bhuvanasya Raja Vrusha Pavitri Adhisano Avye Bruhatsomu Vavrudhe Suvana Induhu. It's very, very difficult to give a connected explanation to all the mantras that appear in these suttas, for the simple reason that many of these are mantras taken from the Rig Veda. In the Rig Veda, in its natural flow, in that particular place, it has a sense, it has a meaning, it is intelligible. But when it is taken out from there and put into the ritualistic system in a particular place, you do not know the original place and the meaning. Therefore, it becomes rather difficult to fit into this new system. That is what is happening in the case of many of these suttas. Now this again is highly philosophical in nature. Samudra Akram, that is the first sentence. Samudra literally means the sea, the ocean. It looks all-pervading, so huge, unlimited as it were. But if you take it in the sense of Samudra or the sea, it doesn't make any meaning here. So the commentators interpret it as Paramatman. How? Sam udravati asmat vishvam iti samudraha sarvakarana bhutaha devaha samudravat paramananda swabhavaha paramatma. Sam udravati. From him, from this power called Brahma, the entire universe has come out and is flowing as it were. So Paramatman or God, the creator, the originator of this universe is called as Samudra. The sea, the ocean that we see, is full of waves, eternally active with waves. And these waves are actually representative of the waves of bliss. Therefore, Samudra with the ocean with its watery waves can represent the ocean of Parabrahman, Paramatman, Satchidananda, and the waves can represent the waves of Ananda. It's very interesting. I just can't help remembering a Tishurangi now and then. Long back, one lady devotee who used to come, old lady, she died, she passed away. So on the 10th or 12th or 13th day, her daughter came to the ashram in the car with a number of things in the baskets, jaggery and coconut and new cloth and doll and all those things. So they were all kept in that veranda there. The veranda is, as you know, very narrow. And I went inside and called the Swamiji. She wanted to meet him. She didn't know English and I had to stay there as the interpreter. Then he asked what these things are. Then I explained. Immediately he said, the space was not much. So he was standing there and I was standing just by his side, almost touching him. I was just an Achaitanya Brahmachari at the time, not even a Chaitanya. And Swamiji said, if all these things are offered in Shraddha, we can't touch them, he said. And did his hand like this and closed his eyes. And wonder of wonders, I lost consciousness. 10 to 15 seconds, wonderful waves of light, like the ocean waves coming and hitting against me, and I felt so much of joy and peace. When he put his hand down and opened his eyes, I was my normal self. It must have happened in 1955, I still remember. So that means people like him, the great yogis and mystics, they could take their minds up to those levels of experience, and that could easily affect the minds of those people around them. That is why I was telling you here, the ocean, the waves of the ocean can represent the waves of joy and bliss, waves of light, waves of joy, Ananda. That is why here the sea is interpreted as Paramatma and the waves are the waves of bliss. Prathami vidharman prajaha janayan bhuvanasya raja vrusha. Prathami, in the beginning. In the beginning means before creation. You know, Hinduism accepts the cyclic theory of creation, not the linear theory. So there is Srishti, there is Sthiti, there is Pralaya. After Pralaya again comes Srishti. New process of creation has to start. So at that time, in the beginning, that is the word used in the Upanishads, Prathami, Agre, Agre is one of the words used in the Upanishads to indicate the beginning of creation. Agre Prathami Vidharman Prajaha Janayan. The Lord, Supreme Lord, Parabrahman, God the Creator, created this world, created the various living beings. How? According to their karma phala. In the previous cycle of creation, they had done so much of karma. They had also experienced the fruits and results of those karma. But they had not yet obtained mukti, liberation. So they were the carryover system. It applies here also in the philosophical field. So they had to carry over, come again once more into this world. So when the Lord creates the second or third round of creation, one more cycle of creation, He brings these beings back who have not yet obtained liberation to give them one more chance. But the type of body, the type of mind, the type of circumstances, the type of experiences they have to undergo, they are all tailored according to the prarabdha karma. So vidharman, according to the karma phala. The Lord produced these prajas, living beings. Janayan bhuvanasya raja. First he is the creator. After creating the world, he has to be the ruler. You cannot just create and leave it to themselves. The world has to be ruled by a powerful, by a just, by a kind, by a strict ruler. And that is what the Lord is. Srishti, Sthiti, Pralaya. All the three are done by the same Supreme Lord. Though in the Puranic language we consider them as three different deities, Brahma, Vishnu and Maheshwara. So after creating the universe according to the karmas, he became the Raja, Bhuvanasya Raja, the king. Now what is the role of the king? The role of the king is both Nigraha and Anugraha. When somebody goes against the rules, against the law of the land, he has to be punished, he has to be corrected. When somebody does something good, he is to be rewarded. It is as necessary to reward the good people as it is to punish the wicked ones. If only the wicked ones are punished and the good people are not rewarded, the good people will lose faith in the system. Therefore, he is Vrusha. He is not only a Raja, king, he is also Vrusha, Varadatri, one who gives boons plentifully, liberally. And this Raja, this Supreme Lord who is ruling over the universe, appears to be outside the universe and controlling it. He has created it, he is ruling over it. So the impression that we get is that he is sitting somewhere in the seventh heaven and is controlling this. No. The mantra is telling us, Pavitre Adhi Sanu Avye Somaha Brihat Vavrudhe Suvanaha Induhu. We are the individual souls, the Jivatmans. We have a heart, the region of the heart, not the anatomical heart. And this heart is something which gives protection. The Supreme Lord, who has created the universe and who is ruling over it, is also living inside our hearts as the Antaryami. And this heart is called as Pavitra. See, the word that is used in this mantra is, this human heart is pure, Pavitra, very sacred. Why is it sacred? Because that is the only place where the Lord can live. That is the seat of the Lord. So in this Pavitra, the sacred, pure seat, which is like an elevated place which gives protection, like the side of a mountain, which is hidden from others, and so which gives us protection, something like that. In the heart which is pure, in the heart which gives protection, this Supreme Lord is living there. He is not living alone. He is with his divine consort, Sa Uma. Somaha means Sa Uma. Now who is Uma? Well, in the Puranas, Uma is Parvati. After the destruction of Daksha's sacrifice and burning herself in the Yogagni, Dakshayani was reborn as the daughter of Meena and Himalayas, Himavan. There is a wrong conception that Dakshayani jumped into the Yajnagni or the fire of the Yajna and then burnt herself to ashes. No. According to the Puranas, where a very clear description is given. Dakshayani willfully, voluntarily burned herself up in the Yogagni produced by intense concentration. She sat in meditation and the Agni Tattva in the body was roused to such an intense degree that the entire body was reduced to ashes. This is not a concoction. It has happened several times in history. And one of the books brought out by the Reader's Digest group has collected all these things in one place. Mysteries Unexplained, that's the name of the book. And such self-ignition, people dying out of the fire generated within the body, quite a good number of examples are given with full evidence and details recorded. Now, after that she was reborn as the daughter of Himavan and Mena. She wanted to get Lord Shiva as her husband, so went on doing tapas. She was punishing herself so much that the mother could not stand it. Now this girl, first of all, left off food, started eating the leaves. Later on she left off even eating the leaves for sustenance in the body and was living only on air. So she was called as Aparna. Aparna means leaf. One who gave up even leaf is Aparna. Then her condition became so bad, the mother couldn't stand it. So she went up to her daughter, and told her, Ma, don't do it. So she became Uma. Very interesting stories are there in the Puranas. But in the Upanishads, Uma is Uma Haimavatishwari, the personification of knowledge of Brahman. We have a nice story in the Kenopanishad. Devas and Asuras, the gods and the demons, would often be fighting. And generally, the demons or the Rakshasas or Asuras would win and the gods would lose. But occasionally, the reverse would be the case. And it so happened that once the gods, the Devas, won the war. So they were having a victory meeting under the presidentship of Deva Raja Indra, the king of gods. They were puffed up with pride. They thought that they got victory out of their own heroic deeds. They fought well out of their own strength, they got it. And Parabrahman wanted to teach them a lesson. So he appeared near the place of the meeting as a Yaksha. Yaksha is a demigod in status much less than the gods in Indraloka. When Indra saw him, he wanted to find out who is this intruder who is coming here. So he sent Agni, go and find out who that fellow is. Agni came and asked him, who are you? And that fellow said, who are you? You tell me first. Then Agni said, I am Agni. Is it so? What can you do? I can burn the whole universe to ashes if I like. Is it so? Try. He put a small blade of grass, a green blade of grass, and asked him to try. Now Agni was in a fix. If he said, no, it is below my dignity to try it, then that fellow will say, oh, you can't do this. Suppose he tried, it was too small a task for him. But he had no alternative, and then he tried and nothing happened. The blade of grass did not even become yellow, let alone getting reduced to ashes. This he went back crestfallen. Then Vayu was said, he also met with the same fate. Who are you? I am Vayu. What can you do? Well, I can blow up the whole universe. Here is the same, that little blade of grass. Your friend came and told me that he could burn it, but he didn't succeed. Let me see whether you can move it by 1 millimeter. didn't happen. Then Indra himself came. Indra was a wise man. He started suspecting this Yaksha is not an ordinary person. Let us see who it is. Now, as soon as Indra came to the Yaksha disappeared. That was an affront to Indra. Say, suppose the President of India wants to come and meet me. As soon as he comes, I close the door and bolt the door, let us say. It's something like that. And Indra was thoughtful. He wanted to know who this Yaksha was. Then there appeared in the sky Uma Haivavadishwari, Upanishad says. It's a beautiful woman, golden in color, bright like the sun. And he asked, well, mother, who is this Yaksha? Don't you know? He is Parabrahman, God the Supreme, by whose power you were able to win the war. You thought you could do it by yourself, you had done it by yourself, but just to teach you a lesson, how all the power comes from him, he took this form, came and taught you a lesson. Then Mahamavadishwari gives him Brahmajnana. Indra puts questions and then she replies. So Uma represents Brahmajnana, personification of spiritual wisdom. Sa Uma, Paramatma, God the Creator, along with the spiritual knowledge and wisdom in the form of Uma. He is there in the heart. Now the next part of this is very interesting. Yes, the Supreme Lord who has created this universe and who controls it from outside is sitting inside along with Uma, Brahmajnana, personified as the Divine Mother. What next? Bruhat Vavrudhe Suvanaha Induhu. By that process, we become conscious. Oh yes, here there is something, some power, some presence that makes us, our mind go inwards. So we start upasana, meditation on the divinity within. Now when this meditation ripens and reaches its acme, then what happens? This little person, the Jivatman, grows to infinite proportions, becomes completely identified with the Supreme Lord. That is what this mantra means. Bruhat Vavrudhe, increased to infinite proportions. That means the Jivatman contemplates the Paramatman in his heart, and when the contemplation, when dhyana becomes ripened, he becomes one with the Supreme Lord who is infinite. So the little Jivatman who was thinking, I am confined to this little body, I am of this little stature and little power and little knowledge, Alpajna, Alpashakta, when he becomes identified with the Supreme within, he expands to infinite proportions. Yatha nadyasya andamanas samudre astam gacchanti namarupe vihaya. So Mundaka Upanishad says, the Vidwan, the man of knowledge, the man of God, one who realizes Brahman, is like a river that is flowing into the ocean, becoming one with the ocean. He loses his little individuality, little personality, and becomes one with Brahman. Brahma Veda, Brahmaiva Bhavati. Now once this happens, this Jivatman contemplating on the Paramatman and realizing him and growing to infinite proportions, he becomes extremely attractive like the moon, shedding luster, light, peace, joy to others. So this last mantra, though it is part of the AghamarshanaSuktha, is practically a piece of philosophy which gives us the secret of spiritual life. Lord is within our heart, let us contemplate upon him, and by realizing him within our heart, we will be able to rise to that level of Brahman and attain the final goal of life. So this jiva, through Guru Upadesha, by the teachings imbibed from the Guru, meditates upon the Lord in the Hridaya Pundarika and gets this realization. So this closes the study of the Aghamarshana Suktha.